All right, Justin, go ahead and test yourself.
Nice subject change. Yeah.
All right. Well, welcome to Dave and Justin. We are so glad that you're here. This is just two random guys talking about, well,
It's
whatever,
random.
whatever we're going to talk about. It's going to be a-okay whatever we talk about. So I'm going to put 30 minutes on the clock. Here we go, 30 minutes, and that's all the time that we have. So if you're joining us right now, by the way, do us a favor, if there's a way that you can do a watch party or share this so that other people can be What was that?
Got it.
But what was that? A
It's one
gnat?
of those little bitey fly things, man.
Bitey fly things.
The bitey flies, the little.
They're called gnats.
That's
a gnat. That's not a bitey fly.
Yeah, that's the bitey ones, though. Those are the ones that bite you.
Oh, yes. Those little bites hurt.
Yeah. Not as bad as it was a couple of years ago, though, man. That was awful. Do you remember that? This would have been like, I guess this was more than a couple of years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. It was one of those, like, you couldn't go outside because, like, there were the tiny little buffalo gnats. Was what they were, buffalo something or others.
No, I don't remember that, but I do know those stupid things.
Yeah, dude, that was awful. They killed one of our neighbor's chickens.
No, really?
I kid you not. They murdered a chicken. But yeah, and the chicken was a good chicken. I knew it personally. But yeah, no, it was like you literally just couldn't go outside. You would just get attacked, and then the migration happened, and then they left, and
That's
was like
hilarious.
Like it was like Oz, whenever the house lands, and then all the munchkins start to come outside. Sure. That was like what it was whenever the gnats left. Everybody.
So it's kind of like, it's kind of like those killer locusts or bees or whatever that was out like before the virus, and everybody thought that.
The murder hornets.
The murder hornets that everybody thought
name.
Well, the media has to elevate this stuff so that they can get more viewers or cash or whatever it might be. Oh my God.
That's the greatest 80s death metal band name that was never taken. The Murder Hornets, come on.
If you go back into the future, if you go back in the past, you can start a band called the Killer Hornet, the Murder Hornets. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Murder Hornet. I mean, it's not even Killer Hornets.
It's the murder.
Or anything. It was murder. It was Murder Hornets.
It really was. Absolutely. Oh, it's the most hilarious thing. Oh my gracious me. Yeah. Don't get me started about the media. The media can kiss my butt. I'm just telling you. All right. Actually, the funny thing is, so I'm sitting there, and there's a new documentary that is out by some billionaire person or whatever, and we just started to watch it, and just we didn't finish it, but it was like Jerry Epstein or whatever.
Yeah, huh? Jeffrey
Epstein.
Jeffrey.
Okay, so my wife just said exactly.
Jeff is his buddy's called him, I'm sure.
Rachel just said exactly my point. Talk about media. I used to be one that would listen to the news every morning and read a paper or have it read to me or whatever. For real, I have no idea what's actually happening in culture when it comes to real culture. Now, the riots got it, the virus got it, but that's where it stops. I still don't know. Is Donald Trump still the president? I don't even know. So he
For
is.
now. It depends on who you talk to as well. Some people say he's not my president. So
that's true. That's true. Absolutely. So I guess that's the thing is, I don't look on media. So with our conversation is I'm not polluted by the media as much as other people might be. I think people just need to turn off the media and open up their Bibles. That's enough media for you. All right,
okay. Dude. It's funny. Like whenever. Because I can still play the theme song in my head. I could do it right now if you want. And that's NPR.
Okay, I have no idea what that was.
That's okay. NPR. My dad driving in because he used to take me to school in the morning, and so driving in, we listened to NPR. And most of the time it was back whenever Paul Harvey, was on as well.
So that was good news, not this stuff that's online.
Oh, it was great. It was great. Paul Harvey, good day. That's that. I mean, just a brilliant soul.
Oh, the coolest thing dealing with media. So I saw a documentary. I can't even remember what year it was, but it was all on audio where they put on this play, and it's like the end times is here, nuclear war, and Germans or whatever coming on in, and they were listening to this on the radio, all the nation, and they thought it was like a real deal. What was it, Rachel?
Actually happening.
What was that? War of the Worlds, she said.
Yeah.
War of the Worlds. And I can just imagine how freaked out people were when they were listening to that play without video. And they were really thinking that it was the news broadcast that was out there. I can't even imagine that. That's crazy.
A lot of people that listened to that in their basement that day.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't a day. It was like a week-long thing, I think, or whatever. I mean,
that's even worse. Yep. Man, you got people that haven't been to the bathroom because they were afraid. They just held it for that long. No, my mom, I still like. My mom took Russian whenever it was the language to take in school. She took Russian because Cold War was a thing, and got it. And
Killer Nat,
so she
murder
Nat. But they had the drills, like the nuclear drill, and it was just so fun to or funny, I guess. Honestly, it's not fun, but it's funny to look at the nuclear bomb drills where it was get down and cover your head with a textbook.
As the nuclear wave just annihilates and melts your body.
Yeah, it's are you looking at it while you're just that way you can do some last minute reading? I guess I don't know. But yeah, it was always baffled me. It's that's neat.
But if you think about it, even with this virus and the riots and everything, it's actually a mental game. It's actually a psychological game, and that's what media plays, and that's where even some religions play. Whatever. I mean, it is seriously a psychological war. It's the battle of the mind type thing.
And it's I guess it's well, let's talk about it. Might as well talk about it. It's the thing. So for me and for you, obviously it's different in the degree of the color of our skin. So we can't understand what it's like to be anything other than who we are. A black person can't understand what it is to be white. An Asian person can't understand what it is to be anything other than Asian. Nationality wise, you're born this, you're that, whatever. That's the fact of the matter. And I think what a lot of people just are completely missing is that the human element of everything.
Absolutely.
And I had this conversation with my nephew last night too, and again, he's just a brilliant mind. Does not come from me. Obviously, that skipped me. It all got put into somewhat my brother, and then he passed down what I didn't get to him. But you hear all the time privilege. I understand the word, I understand the intent, but I think that's another one of those just crap situations. There's no other way to say it. Crap situation where the world and the zeitgeist of now has basically taken the word blessed and twisted it to fit the world's narrative of that. So yeah, I can say I was born into a family that was a doctor. We had all kinds of cool toys, and we lived an awesome life, and I was black. Great. That you, it wasn't that you were privileged, it was that you were blessed.
Yeah, right.
It was that you were blessed. I was born into a family that both parents were home. Me personally, I was born into a family where both parents were teachers, so they were on the same schedule that we were. I mean, obviously they graded papers and stuff in the evenings, but it was weird if we didn't eat dinner as a family together.
Sure.
It was weird if that didn't happen, you know, and we didn't go on extravagant vacations. We didn't have a ton of stuff. We had one TV in our house, but we didn't ever complain. It wasn't that we wanted another one or felt the need for it. It was just whatever. We got a TV. That's good. Good enough. I'm going to go out on my bike anyway. You know, so that it's just that kind of a thing. But we were blessed because of what we had in the life we had. Absolutely. And who we had as leaders in our lives growing up. You know, I mean, just I have great parents. I have great brothers. You know,
absolutely.
But it's that replacing the word thing that irks me. It's it's privilege. There's a difference between privilege and blessed. And honestly, I think if everybody just took a pause and looked at their lives, they looked at everything that is going on and all that kind of stuff. If people took the time to not realize their own privilege, but to realize their own blessing, what they have, you know, that's
absolutely.
And that's what really grinds my gears. Yeah, but it's one of the, you can't go burning down a building of a dude that's worked his entire life to build, and that has nothing to do with anything, you know, and you just because you're immature and you've always wanted to smash a window and now's the time to get away with it. You know, that's it. That's all that is. Yeah. It's juvenile crap.
Absolutely.
I came so close to dropping the first bomb on our live feed here. Yeah, but it was really close. But yeah, it's juvenile crap. Yes, all it is. And I think there are people that are in it for the real cause, and people that just show up because they want to be a part of some looting and rioting.
Yes, and I think that's what breaks my heart. The murder of Mr. Floyd was devastating, and the murder of any human being.
Murder. It was murder.
The
entire United States had the back on that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
That dude was straight up
murdered. Absolutely.
Brutally murdered.
100%. And again, I think that, I mean, in every situation, there are people that come into the masses, and it's kind of like that rotten apple, kind of just gets into it. And then now, this beautiful apple of protest with a really bad situation, standing up against racism and police brutality. These elements of rottenness have come in, and this beautiful unification. Finally, the whole United States was unified, other than the virus. They're unified against racism and unified against the murder of this amazing man, come to find out. And long story short is here we are talking about
again.
It's just stupid people. So and I was watching Facebook Live, and I love. You see these amazing African American men standing next to the policemen as another group were trying to break into a Walmart or whatever. And I'm like, you know what? That's what it's about. Just pushing back against the evil part of it and standing up for the good part of it. I think that it literally breaks my heart with every single thing. Racism is a sin without a doubt.
Oh, and absolutely. And that's the that's the, like, okay, the Rodney King, 1992. I remember that happening. You know, I remember it. It wasn't like I was 3 or anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was just, I remember that going down, and I remember us watching the news, and it was like, wow, that's insane. You know,
Right.
and
Yep.
but I also remember this one video. It's circulating again now, but it was this old guy who had built a business, and that was his livelihood, and everybody had torched his business, and he was like, I came from where you came from, and I don't understand why you're, you know, and it's like, you basically have robbed me of my life.
Oh,
well.
did he have like a white beater on or a white shirt? Was that the one that? Okay, might be a different one.
I can't remember. I think it was like a yellow polo or something.
Okay,
I'll send it to you. I'll find it and send it to you.
Okay, gotcha.
But it's that's the thing, is that it's a, you know, and people saying the whole, well, everyone grieves differently. Everyone, there's right and wrong. I'm sorry, there's right and wrong, and sorry, not sorry, Reese's. You know, but it's there is right and wrong, and there's a correct way to deal with stuff, even if it's stuff I don't understand how to deal with. There is a right way and a wrong way.
Absolutely.
And if you say, well, people are going to grieve different, everybody reacts differently to situations, and you gotta allow for them to whatever. Okay, well, congratulations. Again, it's the same thing we talked. It's the whole great. Well, you just justified child molesters,
yeah,
because they were molested as a child. So then, therefore, that's how they deal with it, and that's okay. Everybody
doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it right. And see, that's the thing. All humanity has a moral compass, and even within Christianity, we have a moral compass. And for those who are truly saved, have the Holy Spirit. But that's where Scripture talks about how we take on the Spirit, but we're still in the flesh. So that's where we just need to fight daily. It's like, you know what? Yes, that murder was like terrible, absolutely terrible.
Brutal.
But does not mean that we need to actually. This one person just posted this and said 2 wrongs don't make a right. Exactly. It's really as simple as that. Whoever that is on Facebook. So
okay, that's a good point. So turn the other cheek and an eye for an eye. As a pastor,
yes, sir.
What is your take on the conflict there?
What's that?
So when
current conflict,
when the Bible says turn the other cheek, okay, and then also the Bible says an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. What? Give me context in why those both exist in the same book, and what means what.
Yeah. So I think it's all about the justice word. If justice is being made known, but in the context of turn your other cheek, that is more out of your giving, because in the next part of the passage it says if somebody steals your coat, give them your undershirt basically as well. That passage is about giving and not reacting upon it. So an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. An eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. I really think that is, it's like, you know what, justice needs to be made, and justice needs to be done, but needs to be done with goodness. See what? There you go. So it's actually possibly a blend. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. That's justice. All right, and then you've got goodness. It's a pure marriage of each other. How do you share justice? You love. There you go.
But see all the people.
There you go. But no, but think about justice, eye for eye, tooth for tooth. But how do you share justice? It's not by robbing a store. It's not by breaking a window. It is the flip other side around of speaking out for it and say, you know what? Okay, you're going to offend me. You're going to hurt me. You're going to slap me in the face. Rachel's like,
I'm going to question your theology.
All right. So,
Jesus said turn the other cheek.
Yeah.
Eye for eye was in the law.
Oh, good call. Good call. But that's us living out the law. So that's a yes and. So Rachel made a very good point. Jesus came to fulfill the law. So that's good. So eye for an eye, tooth for tooth. Yeah, Rachel's helping us out. Eye for eye, tooth for tooth.
Dave, just move.
I know, Rachel. Come on over here. eye for eye. She just looked it up. That was in the law, and then Jesus came to fulfill the law that says yes, justice, but at the same time, how do we show justice? By turning the other cheek. So law fulfilled in Jesus. Jesus turned the other cheek. So the eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, or whatever that says.
That's Jesus saying that's the old way.
Yeah, the old way.
I'm
Absolutely.
the new way.
Correct. That goes back to justice. How do we share justice? So if the right form of justice, if Justin punched me in my face, the right type
Sorry.
of yes, the right type of justice to actually fulfill the law of eye for eye, tooth for tooth, to fulfill that would be to turn the other cheek. It's still justice. It's like, all right, you're taking it out on me, but I'm not going to. It's wrong. I'm going to display the justice in love versus flipping it around, just like everybody's doing now. And I get so with this rioting thing, I think that that's turning the other cheek. I really think that people, when they're protesting, are saying, you know what, we could be rioting like those fools, but we're just going to peacefully protest. We're going to stand up for what is right, because we need to stand up for what is right. We need to walk shoulder to shoulder and walk. That's turning the other cheek. Following that vindictive judgment is
Dude,
dangerous.
I mean, Evansville had a wonderful peaceful protest, you know, and all of it. That was great till the very end, whenever somebody threw something and hit one of the police horses in the face. It's like, of all the things that are the most innocent in the whole situation,
horses.
The police horse.
Absolutely.
They, you know, and it's like, that just doesn't care. That just doesn't care.
Yeah.
There's no caring involved whenever that goes down. There's no caring. There's no caring for the cause. There's no caring for the outcome.
But see, that's the thing.
Whatsoever.
The people that are
immaturity. It's just immaturity.
Correct. The people that are rioting. And the funny thing is, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching, Justin and I said, "You want to talk about all the rioting?" We said no. Now here we are. It's random. So, but again, love. But love does.
Nice shirt. Yeah,
there you go. Love, but I'm serious, Justin and everybody. That's the thing. We have to stand up for what is wrong. We have to, but we do it in a loving manner. Walking down the streets of Evansville, holding up signs, do it because it's standing up for injustice. But when you pick up the first stone, when you pick up a rock, when you throw it at anything, if you're breaking glass, that's taking it into, like that person said, two wrongs don't make a right. But I think that's one thing that the church, and I can get Rachel on here and she can go like crazy on this. The church and Christians and Americans have held their tongue too much.
Oh gosh, we have the biggest responsibility of anyone.
Absolutely.
Honestly, it's the whole. If we're honestly the way, the truth, and the life, if that's what we follow, and we don't follow that in our everyday life, then what? Yeah, there's zero example there. There's zero example.
Absolutely.
If we're supposed to be in the image and we're supposed to be following the greatest person to ever lead.
Yeah. But
if we're quiet about everything, then yeah.
But so don't get me on this rant, because
do it.
If Christians all along had been loving and not racist, loving and not prideful, loving and not tolerant, but just loving. If Christians would have been loving the entire time, not by case basis, because right now it's like it's love your neighbor because of the virus. All right, we should have been loving our neighbor the entire time. Okay, no racism, but now everybody's about no racism. But Christians, every single day, are supposed to live as a non-racist person, because we're all equal in God's sight. So that's a little bit. So I told you I'd get on a little rant. That's my frustration with Christianity. Christianity has become a popular sport when
It's
when
a
every
social club.
when
It's a giant
everybody
social
else
club.
is playing. When everybody else is playing. It's like, what is the season? Okay, the season is racism. All right, let's jump on board with racism. Let's jump on board
Uh-huh.
with love your neighbor. No, that's bull honky. The season, be ready in season, out of season to share your faith. And how do you share your faith? Don't be a racist. Go love your neighbor. Go live your life out. Be like you said. Be the light of the world. That is my probably my biggest rant against Christianity. The way it is now is that people aren't living it out day to day. They're living it by case. Whew.
But my brother, my oldest brother, is in ministry up in Indianapolis, and at his church, that was his big thing was that you're in church and in the building in church. You're in church, what, an hour typical, churches, an hour every week. So there's 168 hours in a week. That's the 1 hour. So live the 167.
No, that's good.
That was
Good.
that their whole thing was live in the 167
That's
because that is where it matters the most. You go to church, the building, to get refueled, to get, it's your filling station. It's the good, all right, okay, now I got what I need to go back out and, be Christian, not be a Christian. It's that whole thing we talked about last time. Be the verb, not the noun. And that's the big kicker on this is that yes, we as Christians, we have just fallen into the same, just what you said. What is the hot topic now? What should we what does the world say we need to pay attention to now?
That's the problem. Is what does the world say that we need to pay attention to? Instead of paying attention to what Jesus says the entire time. And if we paid attention to what Jesus said the entire time,
we'd be fine.
Well, when a murder like this comes up, they're not going to go to social media. They're not going to go to anything else. They're going to go to Christians that had been living it out. So, church, how have you been dealing with this since you have been actively living this every day? Oh, there's a murder. Tell us how to handle this. Turn the other cheek. Stand up for racism. Yes, turn the other cheek. Walk, protest, but don't break windows. Just gracious me. So I guess
Wash your hands. Don't set fire to buildings. God, it's like a great elementary school.
It really
lesson.
is. It just, and again, that's
love your neighbor. Okay, love your neighbor.
And that's the funny thing. Again, not saying that all Christians don't. So there's a stereotype within a side of a stereotype. But
that's ironic.
Here in Evansville, there's been this big push for loving your neighbor and so on and so forth. And Catalyst Church, we've been a part of loving our neighbor for many years. But it's just like, as a pastor, I am hitting my head against the wall. It's like, all right, we've been talking about it for all these years, and now a virus comes up, and then it's like, oh, here's a way to love our neighbors. No, we should have been loving our neighbors the entire blooming time. Oh my gosh,
dude! Speaking of Evansville too, it's. I honestly, say what you want. I love our mayor. Absolutely love our mayor. I feel like he's got best intentions in mind for a lot of things. But there was one thing that he was speaking at that was like I don't know if you may have even been there, but it was like a church leaders thing in the area. Last year, the year before, maybe.
I know where you're going exactly.
Dude, it was just his whole, somebody asked the question, what advice would you give, for whatever? And he said, if you could emphasize one thing, it would be love your neighbor. Do you know how many police calls get dispatched for neighbor disputes?
Yep, absolutely.
And it's like, my goodness, like I honestly, I can't, and I'm blessed to be in the area that Megan and I are in, as far as having the bomb for neighbors. I mean, our neighbors are amazing. They're our best friends. And it just so happens we got put in this little plot of earth, you know, but it's one of those where I can't imagine being in a spot where I am so ticked at my neighbor that I call the cops. I know what happens. I know people are not in the same situation Megan and I are for having awesome neighbors, but it's like, but to have that be such an issue that it gets brought up by the mayor to talk about, for church leaders to really emphasize love your neighbor. It's like, I mean, how many people weren't able to go on actual 911 calls that mattered, where it was life and death, you know?
Yeah. Again, it's a fad. And we got 47 seconds left. I hate fad Christianity. I just hate it. So the mayor, I was in that meeting, and everybody's like, "Oh, we need to love our neighbor," and we're like, Jesus has said that 2,000 years ago to love your neighbor. So the mayor says it. Church, let's love our neighbor.
Wait a minute. I just checked my count. It was 2,000, not just one. It was 2,000 years. My bad. Was twice
Oh my gosh.
Millennia.
And so there's the frustration. Catalyst Church says, well, we could do so much better. I do okay. I could do so much better. And forget this fad thing. I know how it is to be a minority. I lived in third world countries where I was ridiculed and persecuted by my skin color. And I'm telling you what, in America, it is a blessing to be white. I'll just say that. It is a blessing to be white. I did not choose my skin color. African Americans and Latinos did not choose their skin color. That's the card that God has given them. Does not mean that we need to look at them and says, you are wrong for being black or Latino or whatever. No, that's
different. Or different in any way.
Absolutely. And one person, I think it was Wayne Kincaid, just said that blood is shed. It's all red. We all bleed red. Absolutely. So I guess.
Well, and my parents, they're best friends whenever they were my age and younger actually. They were black, but it was the 1960s. And I remember Mom telling stories. I mean, we'd go to, first time I ever actually had barbecue chicken that made my life change was whenever we went and met them, whenever the Dorcas and Andre were their names. And they were out at Patoka Lake in DuBois County or wherever, round home. But we went out to meet them at their camper because they were camping out there. And I didn't like barbecue. And I just remember Andre going, well, you've never had my barbecue.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And I said, well, that's true. And yeah, and it was the most life-changing thing. But I remember Mom telling stories of them all being out to eat. My parents, white, Dorcas and Andre, black, out to eat, sitting at the same table. Mom and Dad's food would come. Theirs wouldn't.
No way.
Wait.
Gosh.
Other circumstances where Mom and Dad's food would come and their food would come. And there would be pepper just pouring all over their food. And it was like, that isn't, it's a thing, but it's not as a thing as it was back then. It was just starting then. Just starting to be a thing, and it's like, how far we've come. We have so much further to go. But again, that your shirt there, go love, serve.
Yep. That's it.
Anyway, I've rambled. I'm sorry. It was me this time.
Well, that was a random thing, so that's good.
All right.
So let's conclude with this, ladies and gentlemen. We need to
love.
Love. That's it. There we go. Love, not with a fad in mind. Love. Don't be racist. Don't think racist. Think soul needs Jesus. If they know Jesus, black, white, yellow, green. What is that song that Jesus loves the little children? Oh, snap. That should be everywhere. All the children of the world, red and yellow, black and white, they are precious in His sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world. So if they are a Jesus follower, they become our brothers and sisters. That's it, brothers and sisters. If they're not our brothers and sisters, they're
They
lost.
could
They need
become.
Jesus. So how do you
They
show
could
them?
become.
How do you show them the love of Jesus? By loving. Loving their soul, not loving their color. Oh, okay.
It's neat to know. It's neat to know every single person in the world could be your family member.
Heck yes, absolutely. Okay. All right. With that being said, thank you for today
Yes.
joining us for Random Tuesdays with Dave and Justin. We will do this every single.
This
Huh?
was more like a ranting Tuesday, honestly. But
It was a
Bill,
Ranting Tuesday.
my apologies.
No, I'm glad you opened up Pandora's box, so it allows me to open up a little bit more too. Christians, if you're a Christian, don't be a fad Christian. Don't be a fan of a team of racism or anti-racism or love your neighbor. Be a Christ follower, not a fan. If you're a Christ follower, you are going to live non-racist. You're going to live love your neighbor. You're going to live generosity. You're going to live it. So it was mandated 2,000 years ago. It is now time to live it out every single day, not as a fad, but as a lifestyle.
Dude, that, what is it, Westboro Baptist Church? Yeah. Any sign that says God hates anything. Yeah, for me, it's just one of those, you're telling me that the one who it's literally defined in the Bible where it says God is love.
Yeah, the only thing that God really hates is that you deny Him as Lord and Savior. Sin. That's it.
That's all. That's all.
All right. Okay. I got to shut up. Okay. With that being said, Justin, thank you for your time. Everybody, thank you for joining us. We will be doing prayer time here in the next 15 minutes or so. So God bless. Thank you, Justin. We'll see you next Tuesday. In fact, Justin, we'll see you Sunday at the front door, opening up the door so people don't get the funk on their fingers.
Bells on.
Yes,
I'll be there.
Please don't wear bells. Don't wear bells.
Gloves.
Don't.
Gloves.